So the prophet is not making edits to the Bible. Well, obviously that necessarily follows if the story is not found within the Bible. So I don't know why you keep reiterating this point over and over again.
You're cooking him for me. He was using this as a point to prove that Muhammad was editing Solomon disbelieving in the Old Testament. I want him to retract that.
Ancient over the scriptures, I don't know how that follows. So...
No, that's not what I said. One, I'm not going to address 2133 just yet because 2102, because 2102 is about a story that's not in the Torah. When you guys make your edit claim, you claim that he's consciously editing something that he knows that is in the Torah. That verse and that story is not in the Torah, so your argument falls flat.
Okay, amazing.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I heard you. If you're saying that holistically, the story is not found, we say no. The story of Solomon disbelieving is found. However, the reasons are different. And we would simply say that just because different reasons are given for disbelief, it doesn't undermine the conscious edit claim.
Okay, so to give you guys a little bit of backstory, all right, the Muslims have now made a new argument, which is Muhammad is making conscious edits to the scriptures. Therefore, there is no Islamic dilemma because he knows exactly what he's doing, purposefully editing the text to say what it's supposed to mean. The problem is that they used a verse, chapter 2, verses 102, which talks about Solomon doing magic, and the verse says Solomon didn't disbelieve, and it's in reference to a story. Get this, that is not even in the Bible. It's a folk tale. It's not even a real story, and it's not even deemed as scripture. Here you can clearly see we have the Testament of Solomon by Chester Charlton, and you can clearly see here, chapter 1, it says the Testament of Solomon is a combination of folk tales and magicians Veda Makum. Here is the passage in the book where Solomon is found doing magic. This is not real scripture. This is not deemed scripture. It's a folk tale. But yet the Muslims are using that as an argument to show he knew what was in the Torah and is consciously editing it. Here's an example of this same Muslim doing that to another Christian who didn't really know how to answer this specific question.
That he made a mistake in failing to add those exceptions and instead gave overarching authority to the Torah and Gospels because he probably hadn't even read them.
Sir, he is given polemics. You know what polemic is?
Tell me.
A polemic is when you give a refutation to the opposing view found in the Quran. For example, the Torah mentions that Solomon disbelieves, so the Torah meaning the Old Testament in that sense. The Quranic author does a polemic against what is found in the scriptures and says that Solomon didn't disbelieve. Now, does the Quranic author know that the account of Solomon disbelieving is found in the scriptures?
Yes.
Amazing. And the Quranic author does a polemic against it, correct?
Yes, again, that would be another...
Wait, one second. So you're telling me that the Quranic author doesn't believe everything in the Torah is true?
So as you can see, he's using this verse as an example to say, see, Muhammad knew what was in the previous scriptures and he's making a conscious edit. No, this is not scripture. So if he's making a statement about something that's not scripture and you think it's scripture and he thinks it's scripture, that proves our point that Muhammad didn't know what scripture was. Solomon disbelieved in the Bible because of women, not magic. That's scripture. So that's the overall picture of the conversation. I hope you guys enjoy.
No, but you don't get to just add, for example, the passage has context. What you've done is you've removed the entire context of the passage of chapter 2, verses 102, when it refers to Harut and Ramut, doing magic and all of it, etc., or whatever. It refers to the passages about magic being done in Babylon, right?
Right.
And there's a defense that is being came to for Solomon, saying he didn't do magic. It was these people who did magic, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. So if he is hearing that story and he is saying something against that story is not in the Torah. So you don't get to just go to the Torah. You don't get to go to the Old Testament and see a story about Solomon and say, oh, look, this story says Solomon fell away from God because of women. So Muhammad is correcting that story. Bro, it doesn't follow. That's not even what Muhammad is talking
I'm
about
literally
in the
still my
Quran.
new position, and I already repeated it. I know that the reason for this belief is different across the two scriptures. I know that. I heard you repeat yourself 10 times. You know that's what you said.
So you can't say he's making a conscious edit to the Torah.
Let me finish. The point being is that although the reason given is different, it doesn't undermine the Quran or the Quranic author actively editing scripture or consciously editing scripture.
Well,
Why?
that wasn't the argument. Editing scripture.
Can you let me finish?
Editing scripture was never the argument. It was he's consciously editing something out of the Torah.
Consciously editing scripture. That's what I mean. Consciously
No.
editing.
You said he's consciously editing something out of the Torah.
Can you let me finish, dude?
Is he editing something out of the
Can you
Torah?
let
or
me
no?
finish the damn statement. I don't get why you're speaking over me when I let you speak.
Is he editing something out of the Torah? That's all I'm asking.
Are you done?
Okay, so you don't want to address
No,
that.
I can let you engage. I let you up on
Brother, okay. If he's not talking about a story that's in the Torah, he's not consciously editing anything in the Torah.
anything.
He's not consciously editing anything in the Torah if he's not referring to a story that's in the Torah.
Amazing. So can I answer now? Or are you gonna?
Yes.
Thank you. I know that the reason for this belief is different across the two scriptures, but we wouldn't say that undermines the claim of conscious edits because the Quran asserts itself.
What is he consciously editing?
You gotta let me finish, bro.
Oh my gosh, this is so crazy, bro.
With order, you've got to let me finish.
You're smarter than this, dude.
If you want to do this interrupting thing, then I don't know if we can actually continue the conversation. But I said I
Go ahead. All right, go ahead, bro.
I will let you speak, dude. Just let me finish.
It's all good. It's all good.
Thank you. We wouldn't say that undermines the claim of conscious edits because the Quranic author assesses the Quran as a clarification over those scriptures. Hold on. If the Quran, if there was no changes done to the scriptures, and if the Quranic author doesn't believe that it's consciously editing it, why does the Quranic author believe that the Quran is a clarification over it?
Over what?
The previous scriptures.
Okay, so you use chapter 2, verses 102 as an example of him clearing up a story in the Torah, correct?
Yeah, I know that the reason's not the same.
Brother, why you're not answering this, bro?
I'm literally. You asked me a question live, correct?
This is bad, bro. You're not. Come on, bro.
What do you mean?
You're
You ask a question when I answer, you interrupt me. What do you mean this is bad? We're gonna let each other speak.
Okay, because here's the thing. You're not addressing what I'm saying.
Answer you directly.
Listen, I'm asking you.
Can I answer?
I'm asking you this. When Muhammad is making a statement about Solomon not doing magic, what is he referring to?
Yeah.
Huh?
Can I answer or not, dude?
What is he referring to when he makes a statement about Solomon not doing magic?
Yeah, the biblical account doesn't stipulate that Solomon disbelieved explicitly due to magic. I agree.
So what is Muhammad talking about when he says Solomon didn't do magic? What is he referring to?
I literally just answered you. I said that this account isn't explicit in the biblical narrative. The biblical
I
narrative.
didn't ask you, was it explicit?
Life, with all respect. If you're not gonna let me speak on my own panel, it's crazy.
Oh my gosh. No.
I'm not muting you. I'm letting you speak freely. We've got to let each other speak, dude. Thank you.
I am not asking you about a biblical account right now.
Life, with all due respect.
What is going on here?
Are
bro?
we gonna let each other speak or not? Me and you know full well I don't need to mute you, dude. Just let me speak.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you. I know you repeated it 10 times. When the Quran refers to Solomon disbelieving and it's due to magic, that's not found in the biblical account. I know that. The biblical account is that he disbelieved due to turning away from women. Now, this wouldn't undermine the claim of the Quran doing conscious edits because the Quranic author would still be aware that Solomon did disbelieve, although the Quran stipulates a different reason, in conjunction with the fact that the Quranic author asserts the Quran to be a clarification over the previous scriptures.
Okay, is the Testament of Solomon the previous scriptures?
Who Solomon was? Yeah, sure, of course.
No. Do you know what the Testament of Solomon is?
No.
Yeah, the Testament of Solomon is where you find Solomon doing magic. That's not scripture. So why is Muhammad consciously editing something that's not scripture?
Again, you're not tracking what I'm saying.
Brother, you're not tracking what I'm saying. I'm saying that you're talking about a story that's not even freaking addressed as scripture. It's a story.
Okay, 1 second. Why does it necessitate that the story has to come from the Bible?
Because he is saying, you guys say that Muhammad is consciously making edits to previous scripture, but yet you're bringing up a story about something that's not even scripture.
Yeah, but when
Is that 1 second? Is that the only critique here, right? Is it just because we can just posit here that this was a Jewish belief, at least among that time of the prophet that he's addressing, or that
Which
that's
is
being
not
responded to in the Quran?
right, which is irrelevant because that's not scripture. If he's making conscious edits to the previous scriptures, but he's saying something about a story that's not accepted as scripture, this proves our point that he was ignorant of what he was talking about in the first
Well, no,
place.
that's tangent. That doesn't follow. I don't know what the inference rule here is, right? No, all that needs to be said is that the Jews believe in it, right? Therefore, it's sufficient for the Quran to respond to the same way, right? That the Jews were boasting about unaliving the Masih Isa, right? But then Allah responds to it, وَمَا قَتْلُوهُ مَا سَلَبُوهُ وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ, right? But it doesn't necessitate that within the Old Testament it speaks about Jesus or the Messiah being crucified, right? Nor was that a Jewish belief, yet it's still being responded to in the Quran.
Brother, what we got to do here is we got to establish what is scripture.
Yeah,
and
what we gotta do here.
Wait 1 second. Wait, can you respond to what I just said? Right, because I just gave an account of another place in the Quran.
Because you're going somewhere else. You're not even.
No, I'm not. You're not
saying
understanding.
Muhammad made a statement about something that's not scripture, a story that people told, and you're trying to establish how he's making conscious edits to the previous scriptures by making a statement in disagreement with something that's not scripture. What are we talking about?
I'm not even responding to that. What I'm responding to is you claim that he was ignorant on the text, supposing that he's responded to a text that doesn't exist. That presupposes that he's responded to the text, and I'm not granting this in the first place. Right? All that's being responded to right, in this specific instance is going to be a belief that's being purported by the Jews or the people around the time. And that is sufficient.
This is your guys' argument. You guys are using this as proof. You guys are using, and I'm saying I don't know if everybody's using it, but this is what has been going around. You guys are using chapter 2, verses 102 to refute that Solomon disbelieved. Now, the Muslim Apologetic came and said that, well, you see, it doesn't matter if Solomon disbelieved in a different way in the Old Testament. That just shows that he is refuting Solomon's disbelief. So he's attaching the reference to the reference to an anti-biblical story to a story that is not in the same context in the actual Bible.
Amazing. And I quoted chapter 20 of the Quran, 133, and you don't want to address it for some reason, because it literally proves that the Quran is at least the Quranic author believes that the Quran is a clarification over the previous scriptures.
But you went to a verse. You went to a verse. One, I already told you. If I grant you that, you're going to a verse that's not scripture. Is the Testament of Solomon scripture?
Amazing. So so just in front of everybody, can you just confirm to us that according to chapter 20 of the Quran, verse 133, the Quran is a clarification over the previous scriptures?
I'm not granting that. I'm not saying that that's it. I'm saying if I grant you that, that doesn't solve your problem.
Right.
Your problem is
in the same breath, you're saying you won't grant it. In the same exact breath, you're saying you won't grant it. My guy, I'm gonna need to look in. Does chapter 20 of the Quran, verse 133, say that the Quran is a clarification over the previous scriptures? Yes or no?
I told you, when I looked it up, my translations don't say clarification.
Let's do it.
I don't know where you're getting that from. But I'm saying, look, I'm saying what I have on my computer, I don't see clarification in any of the translations I have. But I also told you, if I grant you clarification, that still doesn't help, because clarifying something just means to make clear, not contradict.
Amazing. So now this is gonna be Muqatil bin Sulaiman, the earliest exegete that we have regarding this verse. وَأَوَلَمْ تَأْتِهِمْ بَيِّنَةٌ مَا فِي الصُّحُفِ الْأُولَى. This is the verse that I was quoting, and it means يعني بيان كتب إبراهيم وموسى, aka the clarification over the books of.
What does this have to do? What does this have to do with Muhammad hearing a story? Hold on. What does this have to do? Because if you guys are taking our conversation about the Islamic dilemma, saying that he's not hearing anything from God, he must be hearing these stories. What does this have to do with Muhammad hearing a anti-biblical story and making a statement about it, claiming it's revelation?
Look,
What does that have to do with anything?
Because he like keeps like pressing this like specific
because
point. Look,
your whole argument is that the Quranic author doesn't believe that the previous scriptures have any corruption. They're free from corruption. Now, I'm proposing chapter 20 of the Quranic author saying that the Quran is a clarification over the previous scriptures if he doesn't believe in a level of change.
Oh my goodness, dude.
The answer?
Why are you one, we can deal with 2133 in a second.
No, we're gonna deal with it now.
I would like for you to establish if what Muhammad is addressing is scripture or not in chapter 2, verses 102.
Yeah. Solomon disbelieving due to magic is not in scripture. Now, can you adjust 21:33?
Thank you. So Solomon disbelieving doing magic is not scripture, right? It's not in the Torah. It's not in the Old Testament, correct?
He just affirmed it. So I don't know why I asked him to reiterate.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. So him hearing that story and then making it revelation from God that this never happened is irrelevant to him making a conscious edit to the Torah, right?
Amazing. So now I just
look, he's like repeating the same thing like for the fifth time, right? Now, you keep going in circles.
Can you adjust 21:33, please?
I want you to just admit he's not making a conscious
brother. He literally just offered. He didn't. Look. You look just like there's nothing to say.
Stop trying to save him, bro.
Stop speaking for a second. Just use a basic inference.
Stop trying to save him.
Found in the Quran, for example, the Torah mentions that Solomon disbelieves. So the Torah meaning the Old Testament in that sense. The Quranic author does a polemic against what is found in the scriptures and says that Solomon didn't disbelieve. Against what is found in the scriptures and says that Solomon didn't disbelieve. Against what is found in the scriptures and says that Solomon didn't disbelieve. Against what is found in the scriptures and says that Solomon didn't disbelieve. Now, does the Quranic author know that the account of Solomon disbelieving is found in the scriptures?
Wait, can you stop talking over me? Right, you just been monologuing this entire time.
Stop trying to save him.
Let's put one and one together, right?
Stop trying to save him.
Okay, just mute him. Just mute this guy. Just mute him.
I don't want to mute you.
I don't know why he can't contain himself. If he says that the story is not going to be referenced in,
bro,
you've got to wait.
Can you contain yourself?
Let's talk to you, Muslim apologetic.
Look. I don't know what you think this is.
I don't know. Like, you're on a Muslim panel. Contain yourself, right? So look, there's no, bro. I'm literally responding to what's the contention as in now. Can you just stop talking? Like, can you just contain yourself for like 10 seconds, right? So what I'm telling you is just put one and one together. If he says that the story is not referenced in the Bible, that means there's not going to be anything that the Prophet is referencing within the Bible to make any edits. So for you, right, to not understand that, and then after he confirms that first part, for you to ask him, so the Prophet is not making edits to the Bible. Well, obviously that necessarily follows if the story is not found within the Bible. So I don't know why you keep reiterating this point over and over again.
Yeah, so now the point is that this was used as just before you got on stage. You're cooking him for me. Before you got on stage, he was using this as dude. So you want me to be quiet, but what's up?
I just said it. Yeah. I literally just said it. Yeah.
Before you got on stage, he was using this as a point to prove that Muhammad was editing Solomon disbelieving in the Old Testament. I want him to retract that.
Yeah, that's okay. If he posits that it's not going to be referenced in the Bible, obviously that wouldn't follow from it. Right. And you keep pressing, like, this is like the 7th time now that you've asked it. The point has been made very clear. I don't know why you keep reiterating it. Look, if the contention here is going to be regarding the Islamic dilemma, there's many clear verses we can just appeal to establish very clearly from the Quran that the Quran or the author of the Quran believes that your text is going to be corrupted and that the Quran is an authority over.
And that's exactly what I want to press him on this, because I already answered your objection head on. I already told you that although the biblical account doesn't say that Solomon disbelieved due to magic, I'm still going to hold to the position that this is going to be a conscious edit due to the conjunction of other verses affirming that the Quran is a clarification over it, which you don't want to grant.
Oh my gosh. And that's why I'm asking you consciously
Which is why I keep pressing you on that point, Life, that you don't want to grant.
That's why I'm asking you consciously editing what you have. You're not
You're gonna keep going in circles.
you guys, you're not substantiating in it, bro. I want to talk to one person.
No, you're talking to me. So now, since I made it clear what my position was, you must now tell me why is it that I can't hold to the position that 2133 says that the Quran clarifies the previous scriptures.
Okay, what does clarification mean?
What does clarification mean?
Yeah, to make clear, right?
To make something clear, yes, correct.
Okay, thank you. So if I make something clear, does that mean I contradict it?
Amazing. So now, can you just confirm to us that the Quran is a clarification over the previous scriptures?
Oh my gosh, dude! I'm telling you. Let me turn my screen on. Let me turn my screen on.
Can you confirm yes or no?
Let me turn my screen on. I'm not going to confirm that because I don't see it.
Okay,
but I'm saying,
I just gave you the source.
Look, bro. Look. I don't see clarification anywhere.
Amazing. Now we're gonna read.
What I see is evidence.
We're just gonna read. All we're gonna do is we're gonna read. Thank you.
I see evidence.
We're gonna read now. Thank you, Life. Thank you so much. This is chapter 20 of the Quran, verse 133, and this is the earliest exegete about it. What does he say? أولم تأتهم بينة ما في الصحف الأولى يعني بيان كتب إبراهيم وموسى. So now, the earliest exegete.
I have absolutely no idea.
Are you good in the head, Life? Can you let me speak or not?
I have absolutely.
You've got to let me finish.
I have no idea what you just said.
You've got to let me finish. Are you good, Life?
Translate, you mug.
Thank you.
Bro, what you just say?
Are you gonna let me finish or not?
No, bro. You just called me a monkey?
No, he didn't.
What?
No, he did
you
not.
said a monk? What is a monk?
A mug.
He didn't say monkey.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, bro.
So now, chapter 20 of the Quran, verse 133, Muqatil bin Sulaiman says that this literally means that the Quran is a clarification over the previous scriptures. Now, give me the refuter to that position.
Yeah, I just showed you right now. What my translation is saying is that it means evidence, not clarification.
Yeah, let me
I just showed you that, bro. We're doing Arabic versus Arabic.
I'm gonna make it simple for you. The term bayna in the Quran is not univocal, it's equivocal, which means it can have different definitions. But we know what the Quran is referring to by the earliest recipients of the text, of how they interpreted it. And according to those earliest recipients, including Muqatil bin Sulaiman, this is referring to the Quran being a clarification over them. And I read the Arabic and I translated the English. So now we're gonna check for the final time logic, Life, before you yap. Is the Quran a clarification over the previous scriptures according to the bayna word being used? Yes or no?
Brother, why do you keep asking me the same thing? I told you, my translation is...
Stop being a mug.
Brother, stop playing games.
Get out of here.